I'm going to call the Sparks Planning Commission meeting to order for February 17, 2011. First item is roll call.
Commissioner Lean.
Here.
Commissioner Vols.
Yes.
Commissioner Wiki.
Here.
Commissioner Barnes.
Here.
Commissioner Peterson.
Here.
Commissioner Sanders.
Here.
Commissioner Sperber.
Here.
Assistant City Attorney Doug Thornley.
Here.
And Community Development Director Neil Kreutz.
Here. Next, we have approval of minutes for December 16, 2010.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion to approve from Commissioner Nowicki and second from Commissioner Barnes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
I need to abstain since I was.
One abstention from Commissioner Sperber. Next is announcements and committee reports. Seeing none, informational items.
Chairman Lean, if I could.
Yes.
I just want to let the Planning Commission know that as of today, you do not have any items for your March 3rd Planning Commission meeting, so it doesn't appear that we'll have a meeting on that day. We do have several items, however, it looks like for a March 17th meeting, so it does look like your next meeting will be on March 17th.
St. Patrick's Day.
So wear your green.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
Green beer.
Next item is public comment. Anybody in the audience wish to come up and speak on any item, either on or off the agenda? Seeing none, close the public comment. Bring it back to the commission. General business. Discussion of possible recommendation to the Sparks City Council to amend the 2007 Truckee Meadows Regional Plan. Mr. Rundell.
Good evening, Jim Rundle, Senior Planner, here to present the request in front of you as Commissioner Lean has outlined. In 2002, the Truckee Meadows Regional Plan incorporated approximately 9,900 acres of land into the City of Sparks' sphere of influence. A significant amount of planning work has been conducted on the area since it was included in the Sparks sphere. These master plans included destination retail, employment centers, residential, and more recently, power plants and data centers. Designating significant amounts of residential in the previous master plan proposals created what we anticipated to be a large demand for public services, including public works, fire, and police. With the latest version of the land uses, staff and the property owners had eliminated the need or the desire to do residential in hopes of reducing demand for public services. The most recent land use planning effort was to do a complete land use planning effort. Staff analyzed the fiscal impacts of developing in the East Truckee River Canyon. This included analysis of the geography and the hillside that are the topographically constrained areas within the East Truckee River Canyon. And as the Planning Commission is far too familiar with, the linear nature of the East Truckee River Canyon. What I want to point out on this map here, it's a map that the Planning Commission has seen in previous workshops on the East Truckee River Canyon. These areas that are the light colored green, those are areas that were development constrained by hillside. So you can see here, those are areas that exceed the amount of developable land which is per our hillside ordinance. The 3,100 acres that has color on this map culminates over a distance of approximately 10 acres. Because of the distance, public safety could not efficiently cover these areas with, say, one station because of nodes of development that were likely to occur.
Excuse me, Jim. Just for the sake of clarity on the record, did you mean 10 miles? Not 10 acres.
Is that what I said, 10 acres?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, 10 miles.
Thank you.
This is a map, an aerial photo of what we refer to as the East Truckee River Canyon. Here is the Patrick off-ramp. You can see a fire station was proposed here. We work further to the west, or excuse me, to the east, a fire station at approximately USA Parkway, working our way east back towards the city of Sparks. Another fire station was anticipated to be needed at the Mustang off-ramp. To determine the cost of services to the city, staff was able to hire a consultant, which helped create a fiscal analysis for the East Truckee River Canyon. The Planning Commission may remember reviewing a lot of this fiscal analysis data in the two detachments that were in front of the Planning Commission a month or two ago, which the Planning Commission ultimately recommended detaching the properties from the city of Sparks. This is a summary of some of the baseline minimums for public services in the East Truckee River Canyon. Police anticipated they would need up to one full beat or potentially half a beat, but approximately 1.2 million. Fire would need at minimum one fire station, 3.2 million. Public Works would need to cover basic infrastructure, and that would be around $500,000, totaling 4.9 million. Now, development in the East Truckee River Canyon was projected to include the data centers, the power plants, some potential warehouse. This snapshot here is what ultimately may have been constructed in the East Truckee River Canyon, and the revenues that the city of Sparks would receive for those businesses and buildings being constructed. It was anticipated that potentially 2.5 million, 2.49 million would be generated in revenue to the city of Sparks. Those were for minimum, but once again, back to the minimum levels of service, 4.9 million was the estimated cost. So essentially, the city was about 50% short, or I guess that would be 100% short of what you would need to make a revenue neutral situation for the city of Sparks. So what we began to do is analyze what it would take to generate enough revenue to support the minimum levels of service. And this is where we come up with this snapshot, which generates 4.9 million in revenue. However, the problem with this snapshot is it is incredibly aggressive for the city of Sparks or Northern Nevada at this time, or maybe for any time. The professional office figure of 40% FAR is essentially equivalent to 500 acres of office. Development of this magnitude translates to over 9 million square feet of office space and potentially 23,000 employees. It's staff's position that this is unrealistic in our area right now, as only 6.8 million square feet of office currently exists in all of Reno Sparks. To take it a step further, a development of this magnitude would no longer require minimum levels of service. It would be developed in the different nodes throughout the canyon, such as the Mustang Interchange, Patrick, and probably USA Parkway, which would then demand the higher levels of service. And you can see that then the higher levels of service go up to $11.3 million, which once again exceeds the amount of revenue that the city would receive from the development. Staff has analyzed every feasible possibility to make the situation in the East Truckee Canyon in a revenue neutral situation. However, to no avail. Staff believes the most appropriate action is to remove the East Truckee River Canyon from the city of Sparks planning jurisdiction. As Sparks currently has and doesn't ever intend to have any development occur out in the East Truckee River Canyon under the city of Sparks jurisdiction. The proposal would be to remove the hatched area from the City of Sparks' sphere of influence, essentially coming back to just east of Vista Boulevard and keeping what is currently already annexed into the City of Sparks. And that concludes my presentation.
Thank you, Jim. Any questions for Jim? Commissioner Barnes?
Hey, Jim, what is that green triangular section?
The green triangular section is the parcel that was annexed, one of the two parcels, or one of the two sites that was annexed. And the annexation detachment, excuse me, that's an oxymoron. The detachment goes in front of the Sparks City Council on February 28th.
Okay.
So as of today, it's actually still in the incorporated city limits of Sparks.
But once the city council does their action, then this will also be removed?
Yeah, if the council if it were possible to have the council act on that prior to tonight's planning commission meeting, that would have been orange hatched area, as opposed to, you can't quite see it, but the 30-acre parcel is also
Yeah, there's a
green.
little sliver, yeah.
Had, like I said, had that public hearing occurred, we would have just had those as a sphere of influence.
All right, thank you.
Any other questions for Jim?
Yeah, I do a couple. If this thing is developed in the county, what is the difference? Obviously, there's sewer, and I'm thinking some maybe fire response. What is the difference of this being developed in the county versus being developed as Sparks?
Well, ultimately, if the Planning Commission and the City Council and Regional Planning Commission, Regional Governing Board choose to remove this from the City of Sparks, it's up to Washoe County to determine how it develops out there, as opposed to Sparks. However, it is very likely it will have to comply with rural development area standards as opposed to Truckee Meadows service area standards per the regional plan.
Which, yeah, go ahead. And really, that's the difference that we're contemplating here, is we're looking into that canyon, and we're not saying it's inappropriate for any development at all. We're saying that at city standard or more urban levels of service that we provide, it doesn't make sense. But in a rural area with rural service standards where, the fire stations, their response times are longer, the sheriff might not get there as quickly, so it's not nearly as costly, it probably does make sense. And that will be something for Washoe County to determine.
Right. Okay.
And to add to that, there are some commissioners on the Planning Commission here that are serving on Regional Planning Commission and would probably review any development by Washoe County as a project of regional significance.
Is that it? Good job there, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Jim? Seeing none, I'll bring it back to the Commission.
Is it working?
Yeah.
Oh, I guess I just push it once. I was just curious, did you have anything that you wanted to add? Is that okay if I ask her?
You did.
You took the time to come down, and you're so pretty, so.
Thank you. For the record, Cynthia Albright, Stantec Consulting. I just wanted to, brave the weather and let you know that I wanted to be here and I was available to answer any questions that you might have of the applicant. I'm here representing Unique Infrastructure Group. We are certainly working with staff through this process, and they've been real great to work with, and we really appreciate any input you have for us tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Cindy. Do I have a motion?
Are you prepared for a motion?
Commissioner
I'd like to
Peterson.
make one. I move to forward to the City Council a recommendation to remove the East Truckee River Canyon from the Sparks sphere of influence based on the facts supporting this as set forth in the staff report.
Second.
We have a motion from Commissioner Peterson and a second from Commissioner Barnes. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, Jim. Next, we have comments from the commissioners.
I have a comment.
Go ahead.
I'm leaving for Hawaii on Tuesday, so so I won't be here for the upcoming regional meeting, and I don't have it on my calendar, so I'm not sure of the date. But I can't remember if we appointed
Well, I know we discussed it in our study session, but I thought we were going to bring it back to the planning commission at the last meeting, and I don't think we did. Right, for the alternates?
Didn't we agree? I obviously was my first meeting where we decided on an alternate and a second alternate. I do remember that. But is that something that needs to be brought before this?
This commission, so we could vote on it,
Yeah.
I think. Can we do that, Doug? Do that tonight? Or do we need to put it on the agenda?
I don't think it needs to go on the agenda. It's not an official action of the planning commission.
Okay.
It's more a ministerial decision who's going to go. So,
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, if I could.
Tim?
In looking at your list, the first alternate is Commissioner Nowicki. The second alternate is Commissioner Sperber. The third alternate is Commissioner Barnes. And the fourth alternate is Commissioner Sanders.
Okay, that's good. So if we have a March 3rd meeting, Mitch, you'd be able to make it?
The 3rd or the 9th?
I thought it was the 3rd, it might be the 9th, I'm not sure.
The 3rd would have been our regular planning commission meeting.
Mr. Chairman.
Then it'll be the 9th, yeah.
Mr. Chairman, the next Regional Planning Commission meeting is slated for March 9th, Wednesday, March 9th. Will be
Okay.
the next Regional Planning Commission meeting.
All right, thank you, Tim.
And then you said we would not have another meeting until the end of March, or the middle of March.
Your next Planning Commission meeting will be on March 17th.
So I won't miss any, okay.
Okay, now that we got that all straightened out, we're good to go. Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing none, we're adjourned.